Worthy is the Lamb, ladies and gentlemen. Sad day today. Sad day. He's with the Lord. He's with the Lord. I heard Rush Limbaugh's testimony, and I know 100% for certain that he is staring at the face of the Lord right now. Sorry, Troy. You don't give anybody a chance, and you come on and you do that. It doesn't work, son. Son. Sorry. We're about the Lord Jesus Christ here. We are concerned about all those things, Troy. But don't come on here and accuse us of not being, when you don't know us one bit. It doesn't work. And you don't change the world when you act like that. You don't. You change the world by acting like the one who changed the world. The Lord Jesus Christ, the God of the universe. And Troy, he is so concerned about children, and so are we. But I know that you think about that stuff 24/7. And this is my warning to everyone out there tonight, is that, hey, how are you? If you stare at darkness so much, you will become that darkness. And the world hates, believe it or not, they hate the light, but they also hate darkness. And it's not that you will be like evil per se, but people won't be able to tolerate you. You have to learn to exist in the world and fight the world at the same time. If you're always fighting the world, you will fail. You'll get banned all the time. That's why we're commanded to occupy, ladies and gentlemen. Occupy. Infiltrate. We're on a mission. We're undercover. And our goal is to escape the beast system. So, man, let me tell you. Again, such a day in the Word, in the words of God. Hey, there you go. Let me say hi to everyone. Deborah Bundra. Deborah Bundry says Troy's disturbed. He needs prayer. He is so concerned. He's become fanatical about his concern, and he can't let it go. So he assumes that everyone is against what he believes, because when everyone else is not as fanatic about things as you, and fanatical is not bad, folks. Troy, you need to know, being a fanatic is not necessarily bad as long as it is focused. Focused. Cynthia Albertson. That's a wild one right there, that's Cynthia, I tell you. If you knew Cynthia, you'd know how funny that is. Trevor Lindsay! Yeah. Hannah Lore. Debbie Karen. I'm so bummed. May Rush rest in peace. Oh, I'm telling you. That man, raised me as he did so many of us. Raised us. America died today, folks. When I saw it come across the wire, I was just like, oh. I actually felt, okay, I'm going to make a confession to you. You know, a little light, I'm sure Rush would love this. I'm sure Rush would love to hear me say this. But I'll just say to you, and you go ahead and, Troy, here you go. Here's one you can make fun of me with, Troy. This is what you can do. All right, this is what you do. When I got the news that Rush had gone, I felt worse than I did, which shocked me, than I did when I got the news that don't you say a word. Don't you say a word about it. I can't believe I felt worse about it than I did when I got the news that George Michael died. Yeah, what a great musician. What a great songwriter. Man, I tell you, as you're older, your heroes. I know he was, caught in a bathroom. I know. But Freedom, my gosh. The album after that, my gosh. Incredible stuff. But anyway, yeah, who's going to make fun of me? Go ahead. Make fun of me. But Vincent Peretti. Oh, wow. Vincent Peretti says, my mom loved Rush. She's happy now being with him. Man. I tell you, it's right there, man. It is right there. It is right there. Papa Mac. Papa Mac said, just bought a ticket to ride. Somebody join me. Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. I needed that laugh. I really did. Man, I tell you. Thank you. Thank you, Papa. Folks, $25. $25 get you in the raffle. And first place is a 10-ounce silver bar. We need your support so bad. I'm telling you. But Vincent Peretti, let me tell you something. You wait. Remember what we were talking about that I'm going to be sending you? Just you wait. We've already got trials going on over here, and it's awesome. It's working awesome, man. Anyway, First place is a 10-ounce silver bar. And if you know anything about the price of silver right now, if you don't get your 25 in, you are crazy, because silver, I mean, up, 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 up. Second place, there's going to be a second place drawing. Second place is a 1-ounce fine silver Trump coin. And that's going to be a collector's item right there. Right there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Timmy Crumb says, Sean, I'll get you tomorrow. Thank you so much, Tammy, darling. You know, Tammy Crimes, the Lord is going to bless you. Tammy Crimes, whether you give to me or not, I just want you to know that. I just got that. I just got it. I just came to me. I'm not you know I'm not a guy that does that. You know. Donna Leanne Gwynn, waiting on her delivery. Yeah. Debbie Karen says they are the sons and daughters of Cain. But you know what is so significant about that, Debbie Karen? I want to show you. I want to show you something. Because I want to show you what you're messing with. Because it is good to know this right here. When you start talking about Cain, sons and daughters of Cain. Because you want to know why you're having so much trouble in your life. And things aren't going your way. This is very significant. Very, 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 very significant. All right. So, this has to do with the real mark of the beast. Right? Not the counterfeit mark of the beast. The counterfeit mark of the beast is 666. The real mark of the beast is the iniquity that was found in the heart of Lucifer when he was thrown down to the earth in Ezekiel 28, remember? And I walked you through all of the times that God used this mark, and that it was because of the pride of the person that they were marked. And I showed you how Cain was marked. And Debbie, this is a big deal. You need to hear this. This is crazy. So remember Cain, Cain is so distraught. They say, he says, now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you cultivate the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is too great to bear. Behold, you have driven me this day from the face of the ground, and from your face I will be hidden. He is distraught, ladies and gentlemen, and I will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Very important. Very, very important. Okay? Now check this out, Debbie. 15. Here, let me read I'm sorry, I should have had this on here the whole time. I should have had this on here, because you need to see this. Look at this. See, right? Behold, you've driven me this day from the face of the Lord, from your face of the ground, and from your face, right there, see? My punishment is too great for me to bear. And then right here is what I want you to pay attention to, because this is so significant. So the Lord said to him, therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord appointed a sign for Cain, so that no one finding him would slay him. So you say, well, I ain't killing anybody. What did Jesus say? That if you're just angry with someone, or if you hate someone, you're guilty of their murder, of their death. So we be very careful how you speak about Nancy Pelosi. I know I make fun of her, but I don't hate her. And I know that some of you will call me a traitor just because I said that. But if you're a Christian, you better check yourself at the door. So 15, so the Lord said to him, therefore, whoever kills Cain, whoever hates Cain, whoever mistreats Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. This is God saying this. I'm not saying to get in bed with the government. I'm not saying as a church that you should be letting them vote in your gym. I'm not saying that you should be allowing the church to be used by the state. I'm not saying that you should be catering your message to the church. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you need to do exactly as Paul commanded and Jesus demonstrated. What is that? Submit to the government. We submit until they ask us to do something that is against a direct commandment of the Lord. And taking the mark is one of them. And can you please not use the V word and all that stuff, or 17 and all that in the chat, because, I don't want to get any attention on me right now. We are laying low, ladies and gentlemen. We are laying low. And if you don't realize why, you are an ignorant fool. NCSF is still alive and well. Just you hold your horses. And I hope that if you've been listening to this and you listened to it earlier, and we talked about NCSF, that you're still doing it. We'll be talking about it again, just like I am now. You hate the sin, but love the sinner, Timmy Crimes, correct. Frank Kitchens. It's all in the show, folks. It's all a show. It ain't real. Ain't nothing real. It's just a simulation. It's a simulation. I get it. I get what you're saying, but it ain't a show. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. Well, actually, it is a show, but it ain't going to turn out like you think. No. Our government in this country is not going to all of a sudden do what's right and judge righteously. No. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Okay. Let's get back to where we were yesterday, because we were having a grand time, because I'm going to show you something that's really neat. See, just as I keep backing up a little bit to get into the next chapter, this is how you should be reading it. You should be reading it that way. For instance, when you read chapter 1, this is how you master the book of Revelation, okay? And if you really want to... Deborah Bunger said, it ain't the show you think. It ain't. You guys, I just can't tell you. I mean, you're my family. I mean, if you're out there and you don't chat and you're scared to chat, you should chat. And also, folks, you should be inviting folks to come to this show. People that are close to you, that you love, they will love being here with you, and you will have things to talk about. And you will grow in the Lord together, which is very important. Very, 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 very important. So, chapter 1, on let's say you're gonna set out to master the book of Revelation are the book of Ephesians, 6 chapters. All right. So on tomorrow, you read chapter 1 every chance you get. Every chance you get. You know, do your thing. Go about the day. But at lunch, read chapter 1. But if you read it 5 times, let's say, make 5 hash marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next to chapter 1. Okay? And then on day 2, you read chapter 1, and to get into 2, you read 1 once, and then 2, read 2 all day long, and make a hash mark for each time you do it. Make sure you mark 1 that you just read. And on day 3, you read 1, 2, 3, and then 3 all day long. And you keep doing that until you finish the book. Don't study anything else. You do that. And I guarantee you, you will understand what the Lord is talking about when he says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice, I will come into him and have dinner with him." He will come in and have an intimate relationship with you. Because what is the Word of God? The Word of God is the mind of Christ. The pages, the words that are on the pages. And I know that everyone in the world is wanting you to doubt the infallibility of the Word of God, that things are missing. And I know you want to chase the mysterious, the Book of Enoch, and all these different Gnostic things. But I'm telling you, until you have studied the Bible as I have, you will never understand that it is perfect. It is the perfect revelation of God to man, of himself, of God and of man to himself. And hey, Donna, just Hannah-Laura's hands off. Sorry. You're good at it, Donna. Don't be offended at what I'm saying. I just have to say it really quick. Where was I? Well, the Bible is the perfect revelation. It's perfect, folks. There are no gospels missing. And I showed you what was one of the tests of what they used to prove that. I'm going to tell you something that may shock you. Because I know what you've been taught. I'm an American Christian. I was raised in the Western Church, trained under a Dallas theological dispensational system. And whether you understand that you came from that or not, I guarantee you, you did. If you're in America, there is a great chance that you were influenced by that system. And it did a lot of good, but it has some issues. And but I understand that you're going to be shocked at what I'm about to tell you. And I would ask that you listen to me and listen to what I say before you judge me. But listen very carefully. The Bible is not a history book. The Bible is not a science book. The Bible is only the revelation of God to man. Now, you've got to understand something. It doesn't matter if a single thing written in that book ever happened. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Because you can't prove a single word of it. You can't prove anything. However, you have the witness of God in you. God verifies it. Oh, I know there's books written and there's pictures and listen, culture will verify that this is the Word of God. It will. Culture will verify. For instance, the Garden of Eden story. That story was around thousands of years before Moses. Moses just edited it. The story of Abraham, Moses edited it. Sodom and Gomorrah, all this stuff. But you've got to understand that that's why you need to learn doctrine. Doctrine is so important for the very reason of what I'm telling you. Is because some of these writings in the book, in this Bible, are over 10,000 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And they are absolutely, perfectly, without error, the revelation of God. You are told and commanded and empowered to walk by faith, not by sight. It matters not if anything in that Bible ever happened, because this is what God has revealed to us about himself, about what he's doing. It just so happens that he came. It just so happens that Jesus Christ lived. It just so happens that Jesus Christ died on a cross. It just so happens that he rose from the dead. That's why Paul can say, if he wasn't raised, then I'm going to party, eat and drink and marry, for tomorrow I die. However, we are thousands of years from that, folks. You got to understand that. Stop trying to prove things. Hear the Lord's voice. Invite him in. Open your heart to him, and he will reveal himself to you, and you will become one with him, which is the hope of all humanity, of which only you have the correct way of doing it. And that tonight you can connect into the power source called the Zoe, the life of God, as it flows out of his words. You can follow along. Anyway, enough of my lecturing. You know, the world will try to tell you what the Word says. But until, again, I'll say it, until you read the Bible as I read it, you will never see what the world does with it. I'm telling you. I mean, it has nothing to do with me. I didn't make this system up. James M. Gray in 1904, the president of Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, did it. And he wrote a book called How to Master the English Bible. I've read it on this show. I've read it on other shows. It's available for sale. But the whole idea is you master books. This is not done, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be like, I mean, has it not happened already that you have read the book of Revelation how many times? And yet I'm reading it to you and you're like, I never saw that before. I never saw that before. Whoa, I've never seen that before. Correct. I was the same way. Vincent Peretti says, don't let your brain tell you you're crazy when you hear him either. Yes. I mean, no, yes, whatever. Yeah. Do not, you may think you're crazy. You will hear him. You will feel him. The Lord. And I'm not talking about this baptism, speaking in tongues stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about falling down on your face. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about being slain in the Spirit. I'm talking about becoming one with the universe, with the God of the universe. The God of the universe. Not the universe, but the God of the universe. And you'll feel it. It'll happen. You will have a religious experience. You think I'm joking? You think that I come across what I come across just by reading it? Do you think that I'm able to exposit this stuff because I read it in my car in the morning? And the dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns were 10 diadems or crowns, and on his heads were blasphemous names. Okay, I want you to notice a rhythm of John. This is very important. And the only way that you're going to feel this rhythm when you read it and you learn to feel these rhythms is by reading it over and over again. Okay. So look at this. Okay. So this is, let's see if I can get over there. This is 13, right? And the thing about it is, though, if you jump back a few chapters, this is 13. So if you jump back 2, so look. The dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming out of the sea. Okay? He's on the seashore. The dragon's on the sea. And we're going to find out that the dragon is actually controlling that beast as well. So, but all right, so that's 13, okay? The dragon comes, he's standing on the seashore, and there's a beast coming up out of the sea. Okay, so if we go back to this, look, that was 13. I saw another strong angel coming down out of heaven, clothed with a cloud, and the rainbow was upon his head, and his face was like the sun, and his feet like pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book, which was open. He placed his right foot on the sea, and his left foot on the land. So, it isn't a mistake that the left is always associated with evil. Do you understand that? It is, a right-handed person is more common than a left-handed person. So a man's left hand becomes his weaker hand, his evil hand. It can't operate right. And you'll see it over and over in the Bible. That's why seated at his right hand, see? We'll be seated at his right hand. Why not his left? Because left is not good. It's lesser or weaker than right. And it's not right. See? And he had a little book which was open. He placed his right foot on the sea and on his left on the land. So this beast is on the land and the sea. And then you saw in, was that 13 or what was it, 14, 13? Where this beast is on the shore, the seashore, and there's a beast coming up out of the sea. So that we have the counterfeit there. So we have 10, 11, 12, and then 13, right? And look at this, right? Remember, he did it before back here too. When he had the, threw the censer to the earth. Here, I won't go back. It'll take too long, but I'll just tell you. So he did the same thing when the angel had the censer and the martyrs were underneath the altar. And they were crying out, Lord, how long are you going to make us wait? Right? How long are you going to make us wait? And he said, you got to wait a little while until the rest of the folks that are supposed to be killed like you are killed. I mean, I tell you, if you don't know the Lord, I mean really know him, people think they know him. And then they'll say, well, God wouldn't cause anyone to die. God wouldn't destroy anything. God wouldn't create a man that his only purpose was to, or at least one of his main purposes was to kill 2 million Jews. Or that he wouldn't create 2 million Jews to be killed by that man. If you say that, you don't know the Lord. You don't know who he is. I'm sorry. You don't. That he created Lucifer to do exactly as he was supposed to do. I know that hurts you, and I know you want to fight me over it and argue. But God, the thing that makes him God, remember, are his 4 non-moral attributes. What are they? He's immutable. He can't change. He doesn't change. He can't. He is limited by himself. He is all-powerful. Hannah Lord Tepper, I'm so glad you stayed. I'm so glad you stayed. I lost my train of thought. Omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipresent. He's in all places at one time. Omnipotent, omnipresent, immutable, the omniscient, omnipresent. Immutable. I'm having a brain fart. Hannah Lord distracted me. Not on purpose. She didn't mean to. Immutable, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Those are the 4 non-moral attributes of God. Those are what makes him God. Not that he's loving, not that he's forgiving, none of that. Not even that he's perfect. because his ability to be perfect is wrapped up in who he is, in this, that he can't change. His judgment is part of his immutability, his omniscience. I know, Mrs. A. Everyone, everyone believes that Satan is more powerful than God. You don't know what you're talking about. I get it. I mean, you believe, see, your God isn't as powerful as mine. See, your God isn't in control, and that your God, the devil, is able to do whatever he wants. See, big difference. He did. I'll just read. Mrs. A said, I disagree. He did not create them to do evil. He just knew what they would do. They would have hearts of stone, lovers of evil. Yeah, like what do you think? I mean, that is like, so there are things that are out of God's control. I mean, that he's not God. Your God is not God. Your God can't control the universe. My God can. See, I just explained the four non-moral attributes that make God God. You can't argue with that. I mean, I know you can, Mrs. A. But I mean, I'm sure you would argue with a PhD. But I know you don't like being talked to like that. A lot of people don't, Mrs. A said, don't call Lucifer my God. Then figure it out, lady. Figure it out. Because your God isn't as strong as Lucifer. My God is much stronger than Lucifer. My God is in control of Lucifer. See, Mrs. A, you don't even take time to think about things. Like when God threw Lucifer out of heaven, why did he throw him to earth? Why didn't he throw him somewhere else? Why did he throw him to where Adam and Eve were created? Why did he create Adam and Eve in the same place that he would throw Satan? Why did he put the tree of knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden where they could get to it? Why? Why? Mrs. A, my God is in control. And Mrs. A, I believe that my God is your God. I'm just making a point, but I don't think you know him very well. And I think that you come onto YouTube like millions of others and make statements of which you know nothing about. And you influence people, and it does more damage than you know. So, Mrs. A, I suggest that you go get some schooling. It's not too late to go to school. Go to a Bible college. Learn. No matter what denomination you're in, just do it. And then you can have the right to speak about things that you will know about. Or you don't have to do that. You could read the Bible like I'm trying to train people to do. Oh, and I know you're mad. And I know you probably turned it off. Mrs. A, I'm not going to let you control my show. You have a Bible right there. You're just too prideful to be taught by anybody. That's all. I'm not going to change my entire show to suit your ignorance. Think about what you're saying. You're saying that God made men. He didn't make them to do anything, but they do. He made them that way. It's not that he makes them do it. He made them that way. Read the story of the potter, Mrs. A. That he makes some for honor and glory and some for wrath. My God. You would argue with God himself, Mrs. A. That, my dear, is pride. And that is the mark of the beast, ladies and gentlemen. Pride is the real mark of the beast. And this woman is so prideful. She thinks she can stand when she cannot stand. She has already fallen because she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she's so prideful, she doesn't even realize that she is willing to expose her ignorance to thousands of people. That is pride. That is the iniquity that was found in Lucifer's heart. So, you got a Bible, read it. And start believing it and living it. And let somebody teach you. Because it sounds to me like that you think that you are on top of everything. Mrs. A, like right here, you are doing damage, my friend. The Bible isn't taught like math. It is alive. He teaches you from every verse depending on your particular storm that he wants you to learn from his words. Mrs. A, I cannot believe you. I'm about to block you. You don't even let me do that, mods. I mean, this lady is off a rocker. She can't even read her own words. You see, Mrs. A, you are like, man, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those locusts. That right there is a locust that came out of the abyss, and they attack the people of God. That right there, if you can't see that was like the height of arrogance and pride, and the Lord hates that, ladies and gentlemen. He hates that. And if you're on the other side tonight, and if you like believe what she believes, that God is waiting in line behind Satan, that it like that, if you think of it like this. Did he choose you based on your decision or based on his decision? For salvation, okay? So did he look down the corridor of time and see that you would choose Christ, so he chose you based on that? Because if he did, salvation is a work of grace. I mean, it's salvation of works. And that's not true. You didn't choose Christ. He chose you. All of it. All of it. None of it was you. Mrs. A, her gospel is damned according to the Bible. Her gospel is a gospel of works. I really shouldn't have even entertained her for as long as I did. So I apologize to you guys because I shouldn't have entertained her. But I want to eat this. Hold on. I had another peppermint patty, and it's awesome. Mark Berlin says, if you have the armor, take the arrows. Weak armor? Seems like. Who are you talking about, Mark? Before I just, this will be the last time I deal with it now. Move on. Who are you talking about, Mark? I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to block you, Franson. Who are you talking about? Yeah. Come on, Mark. Tell us. Who's got weak armor? I mean, that right there is like, I mean, I just got here, so never. Weak armor. We don't know what you're saying, though, man. You just got here, and you're saying like, oh, you. Yeah, I see. So, folks, so think about this. That Mark Berlin comes in. He doesn't know me at all. Just think about this. And he says that it seems like I have weak armor. All that we've been talking about the real Mark and the counterfeit Mark, right? So Mark Berlin says, but I just got here and never read all she said. Mark Berlin, that makes it even worse, man. That makes it even worse. Think about it. You just read, so you jump in and you start saying that? Anyway, just remember, folks, the true mark of the beast, there's two marks of the beast. There's the true mark, and then there's the counterfeit mark. Everything the beast does and the Antichrist does is counterfeiting what the Lord does. And the Lord, he has his own mark of the beast. And his mark of the beast is pride. And it's obvious, like you're able to see it, you're able to feel it. Jana Flores, thank you, darling. So anyway, let's look back at this. We gave it enough time. So a great sign appeared in heaven. So I want you to look at something that we just dealt with, the temple. And this giant of an angel that has this little book, and he eats this little book. Sorry, I'm just kind of going down so I can get to it. So he eats this book, and it's sweet in his mouth, and it turns bitter in his stomach. Mark Berlin, just being honest, man. I mean, what a jackass. I mean, the height of like arrogance, like after hearing what I said, to just say, hey, just being honest, man. And my honesty is like up here, man. My honesty has the authority of God. Jackass. Anyway. So anyway, he eats this book and it makes his stomach bitter. And so, and it's like a psychotropic drug, like a psychedelic thing, like that. It's like he ate peyote or something. He acts like that, but he didn't. It is an image of that. And that eating peyote, to have this experience, is the counterfeit of this true experience. So he ate it and it got bitter in his stomach, and he's told that he's got to prophesy again concerning many peoples, right? So then he goes, you remember, he's in heaven, right? He's in heaven. And he's given a measuring rod, and he's told to measure the temple, but not the outer court where the Gentiles are, because they were given that. And then he says, and they're going to trample under feet the holy city. But why is he wanting to measure it? Well, he's getting ready to take care of Israel for cheating on him. And his beef is with the church. not with the Gentiles, though they get judged because they were in cohorts with Israel because she went to them, to the Babylonians, the whore of Babylon. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he measures the temple, then all of a sudden the two witnesses appear. And I showed you that the two witnesses are related to that little book that that strong angel had. That strong angel was the Lord. Okay? That's why his feet were pillars of fire. And that's why he walked on the earth with his pillars of fire, guiding the Israelites where to go through the desert or the wilderness. So I showed where the Bible is actually the two witnesses, not two men. And I know a lot of you disagree. Most do. But again, most don't read books like these books like I do. So I'm not alone in this, but you're not going to hear too many people say it. See, Mark, you see this, folks, look at Mark Berlin. I'm sorry, right here, like, this is where, like, he's in Canada, as far as I know, like, he's Saint Anon, one of those jackasses, just coming over here to cause problems because he has nothing better to do. He has no life. He has no job. He's a loser. He's a wannabe. And he comes over here and he's causing problems. See, and I know you think a Christian shouldn't talk to him like that. Well, he's a jackass. If the Lord can have an ass talk to what's-his-face when he was trying to curse Balaam or whatever, when he was trying to curse Israel, and God had an ass talk to him, I get it. Sometimes asses show themselves and they talk. Susan Sawyer said, I got a backwards mark. It's called the door you came in by. See, they're just losers, man. Losers. You are a Christian and you're calling people losers? No, I'm calling demons losers. That's a locust. It's a locust. See, they attack, they make war on the saints. That's what they do. They are in people, nameless people, faceless people. People from other countries attacking Americans. He probably thinks he's a patriot. He's not. Patriots don't attack other people like that. All right. And anyway, so we find out these two witnesses, they stand before God. They're two olive trees and they're two lampstands. Folks, please consider giving. Please consider giving on PayPal. We are in a situation, and we could use all the help we can get. We are at the point where the show will have to suffer because, there's things that happen, folks. Things that happen, people that give, and people that want me on their terms, and if they can't have me the way they want me, they just take off. You need to know that happens. Thank you, Cynthia Albertson, for putting that in there. So, no pressure. If you don't have it, I don't want you to give it. But there are people that have it, and they're able to give. So thank you. So anyway, we see that these witnesses are in heaven, and they may come to the earth. I think that we've been dealing with this literary device, apocalyptic literature, throughout, and it's not like, well, we can now change it. So now we're not using this picturesque symbolic language or literary device, and we're just going to stop using it, and we're going to say they're going to be on the earth. See what I'm saying? So either we're going to be disciplined and keep the same the same system moving through this book, only like we look for the rhythms of John. We look for the way he stacks stuff. We look for the way he bounces back and forth. We look at how he looks forward and he looks back. We recognize all that stuff. And yeah. Yeah, see, that was an attack, folks. And that happened in several ways. It began before that guy came in. You see, people are fragile. Bottom line. And when you're in my position, and I ain't crying or whining about it, by the way. I'm just telling you the facts. When you're in my position, everybody expects you to be the strong one. And be there to solve everybody's problems. And which, that's fine. I want to do that. I mean, that's what God has put me on this earth to do. But it seems like that a lot of folks, they forget like that I'm like them. I'm like just like them. Damn it, Crimes, you're awesome. You're so awesome. Anyway, I'm going to have the rest of this peppermint patty. 1 second. So, if you look at these two witnesses, they're able to do things. They're like, said, if anyone wants to harm them, fire flows out from their mouth and devours their enemies. This all happened in the Bible. These Moses, Elijah and Moses did these things. And they're going to do it in Israel. But they've done it in Israel. It's already happened. And what's up, Billy Jaguars? Here, he said, I'm late, but here for backup, bro. Welcome. Deborah Bunger says, I've been told over and over, I am the strong one. Sometimes one gets tired of being the strong one, but you take up that cross and move. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what it is. But some people can be very cruel with it. You need to know that. Okay. See, they don't realize that their cruelty affects me like a normal person. And that's the thing, like, because I'm here, I'm just being honest with you. I get it. I get it. I get it if you never want to ever support me. But we're disconnected through this screen. So I try to talk to people. I try to keep in contact with people that give. And usually the people that are like really, really big givers, it usually has to be on their terms. And when it's not, you're out of there. And, F my feelings, F my friendship, F what I think. Because then you find out it wasn't for the right reason, that it was all happening anyway. You know what I mean? And that part gets hard because it happens a lot. What sucks is sometimes I mean, hey, I'm human. Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Only myself, that person, and God will know. Deborah Bunger said, oh yeah, cruelty. But God will deal with that as well. I was ramping on someone in my head. God made me quit and said, I have to deal with you too. Very humbling. Yeah, you know. Yeah, Papa Mac just made a donation for you, Susan. God bless. Thank you, Papa Mac. See, Papa Mac gets it. He gets it. He gets it. He gets it. Yeah. He gets it. Hannelore gets it. A lot of folks that support me get it. I'm just telling you, there are those that they make it personal, like over the top personal, where they forget that I took it personal. Yeah, Hannelore Tepper, like I speak with Hannelore. I know Hannelore, and I can't imagine Hannelore ever doing to me what some people have done to me. Yeah. I mean, just walking out, walking away. Come be friends, befriend my family, get involved in our lives, and then when it doesn't go their way, poof, we're left just standing there. I'm not whining, I'm just telling you. Why can't I tell you? Why does it have to be like, well, oh, you're a man. You see me crying? I boast in God's grace and his strength to pierce this hard shell that has been made hard. And I believe he does that. And I was thinking today when I was see, I like to drive. I will drive just to drive. I will sit in my car. It's cozy to me. I crank it up, turn it. Yeah, but you're not supposed to sit and let it run, Sean. That's gonna run. Let it run it. Every car I've had, I've done that. And I drive cars in the ground. Sit in that car with the heat on. Okay, yeah, he says, been there, got those t-shirts too. Sucks. Yeah, been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. Mm-hmm. Yep. But you see, the difference is you can turn it off and you can go away. But I'm a pastor. We're trying to have church here. I'm trying to be open and strong for everybody. You know what I mean? But I think that it takes strength to be able to listen. So thanks. In fact, how people were like dissing Rush Limbaugh, saying that they were glad and that he deserved it. It was just crazy, evil things. Look at this. So these two witnesses, their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city, which mystically is called Sodom in Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. Those from the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations will look at their dead bodies for 3.5 days and will not permit their bodies to be laid in the tomb. And those who dwell on the earth, they will rejoice over them and celebrate, and they will send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. But after the 3.5 days, the breath of life from God came into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell on those who were watching them. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, to those two witnesses, come up here. Then they went up into heaven in the cloud, and their enemies watched them. And in that hour there was a great earthquake, and a tenth of the city fell. And yada, yada, yada. And what does it say about the people, right? Remember, is this in the tribulation or not? I don't believe. Look. Because this doesn't make any sense. 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake, and the rest were terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. It says all Israel will be saved. It's that right there. Then the seventh angel sounded, and there were loud voices in heaven. The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and his Christ, and he will reign forever and ever. The elders say what they have to say, and the nations were enraged. And the temple of God, which is in heaven, was opened, and the ark of his covenant appeared in his temple. And there were flashes of lightning, and sounds, and peals of thunder, and an earthquake, and a great hailstorm. You know what's interesting about that ark of the covenant? You know, in Ethiopia, where it's said that ark of the covenant is kept, 750 people were murdered outside of that church, churchgoers. And they didn't damage the church. They went in the church and they left. Some believe that they may have taken it. Could it really be there? The Queen of Sheba was from Ethiopia. The Levites are in Ethiopia. I disagree. Oh, I disagree. You disagree that they're in Ethiopia? You would, wouldn't you, Mrs. A? You would, you little devil. Yeah, you like to argue. Boy, I bet your husband is just happy. And then 12. So I want you to look at something really quick here, because a great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labor and in pain, to give birth. So this sign is in heaven, not in the sky, not in the air, but in heaven. And we're seeing this is the spiritual dimension, is what that means. A great sign appeared in the spiritual dimension. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. You got to know that this is very, very Babylonian-esque. Very Babylonian. I mean, this is so like mystery religion-esque. Looks like that. Is he talking about Mary? I don't believe he is right here. He's going to. I think he's talking about two things. I'm going to show you. A great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. So she looks like she's related to the 12 tribes of Israel, right? But she's got the moon under her feet, and she's clothed with the sun, like Isis. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labor and in pain, to give birth. Then, now the scene changes. Watch. The scene changes. Then another sign appeared in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads were 7 diadems. crowns. And his tail swept away a third of the stars. This is imagery. This is not really going to happen. And his tail swept away a third of the stars. Remember, we're in heaven. We're in the spiritual dimension. This is not physically happening. This is what's happening behind the physical. And his tail swept away a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she gave birth, he might devour her child. I believe right there it's talking about Mary. That it changes scenes. That there's 2 children being born. Yeah. Remember, the Lord counterfeits everything. I mean, Satan counterfeits everything the Lord does. As I told you, remember at Christmas, when Jupiter and what Saturn was that aligned and people were calling it the Star of Bethlehem. He is here, folks. He has been born. He is here. He counterfeits everything. The horns represent great powers, Daniel Jr., absolutely. That's why in the other beast he has horns of a lamb. His power is in Christianity. He uses Christians. Watch, I'm going to show you that. Then another sign appeared in heaven, behold, a great red dragon, and he wants to devour. He's sitting there and he's waiting. He's basically like standing there waiting for this lady to have this child so he can snap it up and eat it. Very organic and savage. The dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she gave birth, he might devour her child. And she gave birth to a son, a male child, who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. That's Jesus. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared by God, so that there she would be nourished for 1,260 days, 3.5 years. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels waging war with the dragon. We're still looking into the spiritual dimension. Michael and his angels waging war with the dragon and his angels waging war. And they were not strong enough. And there was no longer a place found for them in heaven. You ready? Are you ready? 9. And the great dragon was thrown down. Who threw him down? The Lord threw him down. The serpent of old, who is called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. So after iniquity was found in Satan's heart, he throws him to the earth where he created man and woman. You can't see what I'm talking about? You can't see that God is God, meaning he is in control of every single thing. Listen to the logic of most Christians. Well, God didn't create Lucifer to be Satan. He didn't create him to sin. He didn't make him sin. Did he know he was going to sin when he created him? Yes. And he still created him. Yes. Okay. So he could have stopped it if he didn't create him. Yes. So God is the first cause, the all-knowing. Remember, omniscient. He knows all. It isn't that he knows it, ladies and gentlemen. It is part of his creation. You got to see it. It's when you understand this that you will find the peace that surpasses all understanding. There is no other way to have it. No other way. That's what it means when it says there's under no other name is there found salvation. Because it's all God. God is doing it. You think that God sent his son here to defeat the devil? Like defeat, like in a battle? You say, but that's what it says. Yeah, and it also says that the dragon with his tail slapped a third of the stars out of the sky. It says that too. I mean, come on. He could have threw Lucifer to Pluto. So all, like Satan and all of his angels that went with him, he throws him to the earth where people are. And he puts that tree in the middle of the garden. He could have put that somewhere else where he couldn't have got to it, ever. It is, every single thing is to glorify Jesus Christ. That is what this all is for. Lucifer his purpose is to glorify Jesus Christ. What happens to him will give God glory. Every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. That is the definition of glory. That is right there. Known, famous. And they were not strong enough. And there was no longer a place found in them for heaven, and the great dragon was thrown down, the serpent of old. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now, look, now. So after the angel is thrown down, there's a voice, a loud voice from heaven saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. So it didn't come, and it wasn't here before Satan was thrown to the earth. I'm telling you, science is the art of asking questions. And theology is a science. Exegesis is a science. Hermeneutics is an art. It's a science too, but it's more so an art. Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. You know what's crazy about Mrs. Foray or whatever? We're reading from the Bible itself, and she still doesn't believe what I'm saying. Crazy. Her God, her father is Lucifer. She has his seed in her. I have to take it back. I don't think she has the seed of God in her. She's got the seed of Lucifer in her. Because that was blatant. I mean, that was crazy right there, what she did. Coming on my show and doing that and saying that in front of the whole world. Wow. Pride like you wouldn't believe. Then I heard a loud voice that let it down. Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brethren has been thrown down. He who accuses them before our God day and night. You want your mind blown? You want your mind blown? I'll blow your mind. And this is one of those things that you'll be like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. That stuff is too crazy right there. That stuff is too crazy. So worship is obedience. True worship is obedience. Do you agree? Do you agree with me, folks, in the chat? Do you agree that true worship is obedience? I mean, do you think that you are like worshiping God when you're being disobedient? Billy Jack Wise says, sure. Right. You ready? You ready, Billy Jack Wise? I'm going to blow your mind right now. Susan Sawyer, Daniel Jr., I'm going to blow your mind. Hold on. Lucifer worships God. Lucifer worships God. And Lucifer will give glory to God. You say, Lucifer doesn't worship God. What are you, crazy? Job shows that he obeys God. He has to get permission from God to do anything to God's children. He's obedient. He's doing what he's told to do. Vincent Peretti, is that saying that it blew your mind or not? This is how out of touch we are, folks. Susan Sawyer says, yes, he has to obey him. Yeah. He lets him out of the pit when it's time. He grants him authority for a time. He grants, see, God is doing this. Hannelore Tepper said he has no choice. Correct. Billy Jack Wise says he was worship leader in the heavens. It sure seems like that. And Daniel Jr. said, case in point, Job. Right. See, and when Debbie Karen says God made him. Correct. See, you my people right there. See, and when you put all these things into perspective and you realize that God is in control, Pete Thammer, welcome. When you realize that nothing is happening outside of what God wants. And like Frederick Newcomb just said, Lucifer can create nothing. He cannot create anything. He is not a creator. That's why anything he has to do has to be a false wonder. It's not real. Demons can't create. That's what's wrong with the whole Nephilim theory stuff. They weren't demons or fallen angels. They might have been aliens, but they were not fallen angels. Fallen angels cannot produce sperm. Think about what you're saying. Apply logic. If they could produce sperm, you don't think that they would have a full-blown community on this earth doing what they have to? It's people like, that's exactly what's happening. Oh, but they would have took it over a long time ago, though, you see. They had taken it over a long time ago. And Yeah. You know, this interesting karma, Michael Mitchell says, Satan is a demonic parasitic worm from space that can't be seen with the human eye. You know, that's interesting, that whole idea of not being able to see him with the human eye. That is what the law was for. What did Paul say? He said, the law said, do not covet. But I'd have never known what coveting was unless the law had said, do not covet. For sin, taking affording the opportunity, or taking the opportunity afforded by the commandment, when the commandment came, every covetous desire came alive in me, and I died. I'd have never known what coveting was unless the law had said it. And then what does it say after that? It says, this is the case, so that sin might become utterly sinful, that sin might be shown to be utterly sinful. So we cannot see Lucifer, but we can see the opposite of God, and that's where he is. That's where he like, how would you say, that's where he travels. That's where he hangs. And he doesn't look like Obama, and he doesn't look like Hitler. He looks like Trump. He looks like us. Come on. You'll have to read it down there. So as it was in the days before the flood, and that's interesting too. You know, we you know, like Nephilim, I'm telling you, they are not demons. They may be aliens, but they are not supernatural beings. Susan Sawyer says, Sean, is sin its own creature? I'm not sure it's a created thing. It just is the opposite of what God wants. But he allowed it. He made it where it would be so. He understood when he created it what he was creating. So I guess it would be a created thing. I guess it would be when you deduce through it like that. I guess it would be, Susan Sawyer. It is its own creature. And in fact, with that being said, that's what Paul said. Now that I remember when he said, when that commandment came, I died. Therefore, it's not sin. It's not me who commits the act, the sin, but it is sin living in me that does that. Who will save me from this body of death? Really pointing to the fact that it is separate, for we are no longer part of that system. So I want to go over this key verse again, because we're about to be done. Thank you to everybody that gave today. Excuse me. And please consider giving on PayPal. We rely on your support, and it is thin right now, and we're hurting. Revelation 3:12. As I said, I believe that this is the key verse of the book of Revelation, for it holds the hope of God. The hope of man and the desire of God. And it also has the real, it has the mark of God on it, in it, where he marks his people, showing what the counterfeit mark of the beast will look like. So, and that's kind of the crux of this book. So Revelation 3:12, he who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will not go out from it anymore. So he who overcomes is actually going to be made part of the temple, is going to become one with the temple. I call it merging, where we are the body of Christ. We are one flesh with him, Ephesians 5 tells us. And that the Bible says it in many different ways, but this is the finale. It's in chapter 3, but he jumps to the end really quick to show us what the counterfeit is going to look like and what's going to happen. But he says, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. It's not on the outside. Mystery religions in Asia Minor, the dominant competitor for Christianity. To them, pillars were on the outside of the temple. That the pillar represented Mercury, which was the closest companion to the sun, which partook in its light and the benefits and all that. But these pillars are inside the temple. They're inside the temple. They are part of the temple. These pillars are as much part of the temple as the walls, the floors, the floor, the ceiling. It's when we become one with the God of the universe. And this is a way that is being used to explain it. And I will write on him the name of my God. That's where you came from. And the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem. We're looking at Roman law like this is your papers. But it's written on you because you're a doulos, you're a slave. You belong to someone. Name of the name of my God, where you're from, and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, where you live, which comes down out of heaven from my God, and my new name, meaning the name of your husband. You lose your maiden name and you take on the name of Yeshua. But it's a new name. It's not Yeshua anymore. And this is when he marks the 144,000, this is the mark that's on their foreheads, this right here. And when the beast makes people take the mark, he is counterfeiting this moment right here. He's counterfeiting the moment in Ezekiel when the man with the writing case marked all the men who groaned in Israel over their sin. And then the guys came in later and killed everybody who didn't have the mark on them. See? The Antichrist does the same thing, but he counterfeits it. See? Good. I'm glad. Frederick Newcomb. Man. Frederick Newcomb. Man, oh man. Frederick Newcomb, you are a pillar in this organization. He asks, doesn't sin exist because God gave us free will? Otherwise, we would always make the right decisions because we would always do what God tells us to do, and the garden would have never happened. Kind of, yes, and you just explained something very, very significant. Think about it. Doesn't sin exist? All right, we have to know that it exists. Doesn't matter if it exists to God and we don't know. So we got to know, we got to find out. All right. So Frederick says, doesn't sin exist? Okay. So he says, because God gave us free will. God gave us free will, and it's the way we discover that sin does exist. But you got to understand what free will is. Free will is a created thing. Free will only, and this will blow your mind too. I mean, blow your mind. And when I say blow your mind, meaning it's going to crack it and break it, trying to figure it out. So don't try. That free will is a created thing. Like slavery doesn't exist without freedom. Freedom doesn't exist without slavery. You need those two things for something to exist. That is the way this creation is created. Up, down, black, white, male, female. Right, left. If right did not exist, left would not exist. This is basic logic, deduction type stuff. So we've got free will only in this dimension. So he said, otherwise we'd make the right decisions because we would always do what God tells us to do, and the garden would have never happened. And that phrase, that's what God is doing in us, Frederick. Think about that. Listen, we would always make the right decisions. When we come to Christ, we're justified, we're declared righteous. We are saints, sanctified. In God's sight, every decision is perfect. In man's sight, it's wrong, and we're learning to be better. We want to make the right decisions, don't we? He says, otherwise we would make the right decisions because we would always do what God tells us to do. And now we have the power to do that. Now we have the power to do that. And one would say that had it not been for the tree, there had been no choice to make, to have. And then he says, we'd always do what God tells us to do, and that's the goal. And he said, and the garden would have never happened. And that is what God is going to make it be like. You know, like Serve Pros, like it never happened, right? Well, God's making it like the garden never happened. So just in everything you said, Frederick, there is like the plan of salvation, and the reason for it is right there. Take the question marks off of it and read it like phrases. Doesn't sin exist because God gave us free will? Otherwise, we would always make the right decisions because we would also do what God tells us to do, and the garden would have never happened. That's the way it's going to be. It's the way it's going to end. Vincent Peretti says, how would one know how a hero feels without first experiencing how it is to be a coward? Correct. When everything's white, nothing is seen. Play with that one. Until black is introduced, it's all just white. White isn't famous unless black exists. This is all the plan of God. Susan Sawyer, thank you for that. Pete Thrammer says, we have the choice, but where is yours? My God is great. I don't even understand that. I mean, that's like foolishness to, we don't read your mind, man. We can't figure out what you're trying to say. P. Thrammer says faith beats sin easy. Of course it does. But man doesn't. And I bet you can't go 30 seconds without sinning, sir. I bet you can't keep the first commandment longer than 30 seconds. I mean, because you've already bragged that faith is so easy, sin is so easy to deal with. Oh, but I wasn't bragging. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Of course you're just saying. Of course you're just saying. They always just say. See, my God is so powerful, you don't have any choice. Your choice was created by God. P. Thrammer. No one is standing, my God is in line behind no one. That's how powerful my God is. P. Thrammer, born in sin. You were. So was I. Deborah Buncher said, I can't. Gosh, I'm such a jerk daily. You and me both, girl. I'm looking at my clock going, I haven't messed up yet. And I'm talking like bigly, like the kind like embarrass my wife or make her mad or something like that, you know. I'm a jerk. I don't mean to be. But I get that tunnel vision, you know, I got something to do. I'm task oriented, you know. I got something to do and I'm going to do it. And, you know, talk to me, that's fine, but walk with me and talk while I'm walking. Oh, I got to use the bathroom. I got to go. But daddy, you got to look at the, let me show you. I got to go. Yeah, but daddy. That's great, honey. That's beautiful. Me dancing because I got to go to the bathroom so bad. Trying to keep them happy. Trying to keep everybody happy. Daniel Jr. says, yeah, me too. Yeah, he says, me too, man. Yeah, man. Let me tell you. Why did he call her woman? It says when he saw her, he went, whoa, man. Whoa. Yeah. Vincent Peretti, the uncreated one. There is nothing before him. Karma Mitchell said, I'm opposite. I always feel like the world is trying to rush me. Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being with me. Thanks to everybody that gave. Papa Mac, thank you. Frederick, I mean, man. You guys take care of me. You guys do. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to give it back one day. One day. So. All right, folks. Thank you. We'll see you soon. And, yeah. Play a little bit of music on my way out. See you guys later. Take it easy. Old version.